Welcome to MMA Oddsmaker. I'm Nick Kalikas. Joining me today, I have Brett Okamoto and Larry Pepe. Let's get started. Fight number 12, UFC 161, a light heavyweight battle between Dan Henderson and Rashad Evans. A huge fight. Don't have to tell you guys how important it is for the light heavyweight division here. We're going to start off with Brett first this time. I'm going to open this fight exactly, pick a minus 120 either way. It's a very intriguing matchup for me. With your $5 donated bankroll, Brett, give me your take and give me your bet.
As a sports fan, I think this is a great fight. You don't really know who's going to win. As a bettor, I think that there's some value on Rashad Evans. You're getting a very athletic, former world champion, 33-year-old against a guy in Dan Henderson who's 42. I thought his best years came at middleweight as opposed to light heavyweight. He's at the tail end of his career. We don't know exactly how healthy he is. He's coming off of that year-long injury. It sounds like the knee injury is still kind of a problem. It's lingering around for him. He takes this fight anyway. He's 42. So I think that just right off the bat, you're looking at an even line. You want to take the younger, more athletic guy. And I think that this line would be more skewed in Rashad's favor had it not been that he laid up a stinker in his last one against Antonio Rogerio Nogueira and just looked completely unmotivated in that fight. The problem in that fight, I think, was that Rashad was unmotivated. I think that he went through a very deflating loss against John Jones, and even though he took some time off, it was just tough for him to get back in the cage against an opponent like Nogueira and try to get back on the horse. I think that that's past him now. I think that he will get motivated against a guy like Dan Henderson, against a name like Dan Henderson. I think he'll look better. It's not a fight I would put a ton of money on because Dan Henderson can always land that right hand, and Rashad has had a suspect chin in the past. But I think that Rashad is slightly better in every area, and there's just that athleticism. It really puts me in Rashad's camp, and I think that you're getting some value at minus 120.
All right, a lot of good points made by Brett here. He is going to go with Rashad Evans, minus 120, 600 to win $500. Let's throw it over to Larry. Larry, what are your thoughts on Evans versus Henderson?
Yeah, I'm going to take Rashad as well, although I'm a little more concerned than Brett is because I don't think it was a lack of motivation in the fight with Little Nog. I think Rashad in his last two fights has shown some of the worst game planning that I've seen in a long time. He is a phenomenal MMA wrestler, perhaps the best at 205 behind John Jones. However, last two fights, what does he do? He stands the entire time, virtually goes for a handful of takedowns over 8 rounds with John Jones and Little Nog and fights to his opponent's strength instead of his strength. I think he's learned from that, and I think he will come in here and use his athleticism to wear Dan out and take him down. If he doesn't, and he stands with Dan the whole time, then he is in tremendous danger because Rashad has shown that his chin is suspect. Machida knocked him unconscious. Right after that, his next fight, Thiago Silva, rocked him in the 3rd round, and he was in trouble there. And if they can do it, Dan can do it. That said, I think his speed and his wrestling style, I know people will look and see that Dan obviously has a phenomenal wrestling pedigree, but he's really more of a Greco-Roman wrestler. Rashad more of a power double speed wrestler. I think he can take Dan down. I think Dan's knee is suspect. His cardio could be suspect. So if Rashad fights a smart fight, I think it's his fight and there's tremendous value on him.
All right, so Larry is going to go with the slight juice here again. Pick 'em fight, so minus 120 either way. 600 to win $500. A lot of valid points made by both guys, and they're both taking Rashad Evans here. And you know what? Going back to what Brett said earlier, he made a valid point with based on Rashad Evans' last performance. I mean, that's kind of why I opened it close to a pick 'em a little bit too, because I think the public out there, they're pretty much brutal. I mean, you have one bad fight, they think you're basically done. So, and Dan Henderson does get a lot of respect from the betting public as well. So that's why I opened it near a pick 'em. But based on what you guys both said, I do agree with you. I think Rashad's speed, his age, everything comes into play here. It should be a competitive fight, but I'm going to lean towards Rashad as well here. Now the new line is going to be minus 135, minus 105 when it does hit the sports books. So basically pick 'em with a slight lean towards Rashad Evans. And we could see that line increase, but I guarantee you at some point Dan Henderson's going to get some love from the public, and that line's going to drop close to a pick 'em as well. So we'll see how it takes place at UFC 161. Make sure you guys stay tuned to MMAOddsmaker.com as we release fight number 13 tomorrow.